Hi guys, I'm still me, Nico. Today I wanted to start out with a little something special, and the project that I've been working on the last couple of weeks, I've been doing my homework on the 27 Club. Yay. Um, I knew a couple of members in the 27 Club before I started doing my homework on the 27 Club, but because of Kurt and Janice and Jim and Jimmy, I was always kind of intrigued by the club, but more so on because of the musicians that are in it. I have a thing for music. I absolutely love music. I love music history, and I wanted to learn more about the club itself. And I found out that there were members of this club long before the ones that I knew. And so I wanted to start out with an episode on each, start a series of episodes on each member of the club. But again, as my nerdiness will allow, I'm so focused on music. I really did only focus on the musicians in this club. Also because I think it would be far too heart wrenching for me to go into Anton Yelchin. Uh, I absolutely love that actor, and I adored him in every single movie I've ever seen him in. And it's when I heard of his passing, it broke me because I had just finished watching one of his movies actually, and he was the youngest, sweetest, most adorable, and he was so good. And I don't think that I could focus on studying everything I can about him right now because it's still too soon for me. And so I limited my search to just the musicians in the club. And so today, I want to speak on the topic of Alexandre Levy. And, well, he is, or was really, a Brazilian composer. His father was a clarinetist, and his brother and him were pianists. He was a pianist, definitely. I'm not entirely sure about his brother. I think he might have been a drummer, actually. Let me just, real quick. Right. Okay. His father was a clarinetist and the owner of Casa Levy, a music store in which he had a recital hall, uh, and the local artists played at that recital hall at little concerts. And Alexandre Levy played his first public show at the age of 8. His brother also did play piano. Such wild details. His mother was French and uh, Jewish and Swedish, I believe. And no, I think his father was Swedish, and they had moved to Brazil, and Alexander was born there. And he, as he grew up as a musician. I mean, he grew up in his dad's shop, you know. He grew up a musician, and the political climate during that time, I mean, everyone had just had a revolution. France had had a revolution. America had just gotten out of their revolution, and it was just like 20 years before the World War, the First World War. So we're talking like 18. I'm sorry. I had it open in front of my face not 20 seconds ago. He was born November 10th, 1864, and he passed uh, I want to say 19, no, January 17th, 1892. So still about 20 years before the Second World War. Uh, what he did that was actually brilliant, his contribution to music, was that he composed symphonies, but he composed these symphonies with a touch of Brazilian style music. And that definitely was different to what a lot of other people were doing at that time. And since he was the first one to do it, it was a big deal. And he had 19 years in the business, being 8 when he did his first show. He had at least 19 years in the business. And dying at 27, he must have had just so much more to give. Now, the weird thing about his death, and it's bugging me, and this is something that, like, for the last, I couldn't do this video for, I've had the information for about 3 weeks now, and I swear I've been treating it like a cold case, because I have been looking up in every single way possible, shape, or form what his cause of death might be. And literally, from every website that I could possibly find, the only thing that I could find as a problem was that the night that he died, he left the dinner table with an upset stomach and went upstairs to go to bed. Before his father could even call a doctor, he passed away. Boom, dead. No cause of death, no autopsy was performed, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And this was before they toppled the emperor 2 years later in Brazil. I thought, I watch a lot of really creepy things, and I watch a lot of unsolved mystery stories, and I kept thinking that maybe his fusion of music was just too political, and maybe someone offed him, because it sounds like arsenic poisoning to me, but without an autopsy, you really can't tell. And who would have killed him? Because who would have stood to gain anything? His father. His father inherits all his music and all the rights to his music, I guess. And his father becomes this world-renowned, teacher, because he opens up the studio to everyone to come by and learn. And that's literally the only one that I can think of that possibly would gain anything. Because the first thing you think of is when somebody dies, well, who benefits from the death? The father. Possibly even the brother, but not really. But I don't even think that was it, in all honesty. Or maybe the father was jealous. He was just a clarinetist. Nobody really knew who he was, but everyone knew who his son was. Alexandre was a fucking star. Everybody loved Alexandre. It's so disturbing. It's upsetting because I can't find any answers, and there's not exactly much you can do. 1892, you can't really pull up, databases from back then, because nothing there is salvageable, If anyone out there can find the answers that I have been seeking for the last 2 to 3 weeks, feel free to let me know, because I'm not sure this one's going to, just disappear in my head. It's going to bother me, and I'm going to just randomly, every couple of months, go, I remember that thing. It's bothering me again, and I'm going to look it up, and it's going to drive me insane, probably well into my old age. So if you see this sometime in the next 30, 40 years, feel free, hit me up and be like, hey, listen, I found out that thing. Or maybe you exhumed the body and did the tests for me because it bugged you too, and you found out that maybe I was right. Maybe the dad did him in. Who knows? All I know, and all these websites know, and I will link everything down below, including some of his music, but all anyone knows really is that he left the dinner table with stomach pains, and he was dead within hours. It's a tragic death, it's a tragic loss, as they all are in the 27 Club. And there's not very much more to say about that, because on a case that old, there really isn't much evidence that you can look at. But I can find you, everything that I found on him so far, I will leave links down below, and I will try to find as many of his concertos as I can. I'm pretty sure, Actually, no. One of his concerts, if I remember well, might have been recorded by his dad. So I will try to find that for you before I actually publish this video. Um, well, until then, I guess we will be talking. I will be talking to you later. Thanks for coming by.